Hello and welcome to Retire Right. I am Sarah Peterson here with Paul Roberts, CEO and investment advisor of Roberts Wealth Management. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Sarah.
We're having fun, I have to admit.
We do.
We're making retirement fun. It's not an easy thing, but we're doing it.
Yes. Well, talking about money and finances and economics and taxes are not the most fun subjects, right? So you gotta have a little fun with it.
I think the viewers out there are looking at you and thinking, this guy is young. What does he know about retirement? You're not the typical retirement advisor, are you?
No, we pride ourselves very much in not being the typical advisor. That's why most people ask us, what is this Roberts Wealth difference that you're always talking about? And well, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's who we are. It's how our business is built. It's the creation of our our business model and the team and how they all work together. And we feel like we're innovating the industry and we're moving forward in a great way.
Your team is a big deal to you. You talk about your team that they're all-stars, right?
They are.
So when someone comes see you at your office, it's not necessarily always going to be you. It's going to be one of your all-star team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, people hear me all the time talking about my all-star team. I brag about them everywhere, but once they come in and they meet them and they see how devoted, how passionate, and how committed they are to what we do and to the company and to helping others, then they start to realize why I call them my all-stars. And all my clients will tell you we have an all-star team too.
I love it.
I love them.
What is the difference between you and, say, you got a viewer out there and they're going, I already have a stockbroker. I already invested with somebody. Why you?
Well, we're not just a stockbroker, first of all, right? Going back to what I said, what is that Roberts Wealth difference? There's a lot of aspects that make it different. One of the first things is we are a holistic planning firm, right? We don't simply put someone in a mutual fund or a stock and say good luck, right? We do everything. We do all of our clients' Social Security planning, their tax planning, their income planning. We manage their portfolios, their assets. We manage their inheritance. We look at every variable and every aspect. We take the whole picture in account. But it's not just that. It's that we're a new age business. We're a completely different model than any other firm I've ever seen in the industry. For one thing, my team owns my company. We're a employee-owned, employee-sharing company. So that's why people wonder why everyone on your team is just as passionate and wonderful and they love to take care of us. Well, yeah, because they have ownership in the company. Yeah, they have a vested interest in everything. The better the company does, the better everyone does. And they want, not only that, I'm very picky about the people who work for me, and I want very faith-based people who really just genuinely in their heart want the best they can for people. And I've got an excellent group of professionals, wonderful people to work with. They love the clients. They take such good care of them, and they're fantastic to work with.
Well, so, we were talking earlier about being in kind of a 40 blah blah stage of life. We don't need to talk numbers, but being midlife, how do I know when is the right time to start planning?
Yeah, that's a question we hear a lot. And then the other thing we hear a lot is, well, am I too late? Well, first of all, there's never too late, right? Yeah. Starting any time is good. It doesn't matter when it is. If you start, saving and planning, then it's great. But one of the obstacles that we have in our office is that not just people not planning or saving for retirement. A lot of people, are working a job, putting money in a 401k or have a pension, or they're participating in saving for retirement. But that kind of ends there for a lot of people would be what I would like to expound on that. They think, I'm working, I'm saving money, and I'll retire one day. Well, yeah, but there's a lot more that goes into retirement planning than just saving a bucket of money, right? And I think all of our viewers will understand what I mean here. The most important aspect of planning your retirement future right now is doing tax-forward planning. We know taxes are going to go through the roof and inflation is going to go through the roof in our lifetimes and over the next 2 decades. And a lot of people are failing to understand that that's all part of the retirement planning picture. So what I was getting at is a lot of people show up in our office, say, I'm ready to retire. Okay, I'm going to need to talk to you guys. All right, well, great. When do you want to retire? Next month. Okay, well, we got a lot of work to do. Okay, and so if anything I could say, even if you are already saving for retirement, do you have true financial and retirement plans? How are you going to use that savings? How are you going to provide income? What does your taxation look like? And I think that's where a lot of people are lacking. Look, it's never too early to come sit with a good advisor. Let's at least get you on a track. Let's get a game plan going. And let's start looking forward and planning for where we're going to be, what are taxes going to look like, what's inflation going to look like, how much income do you need, and let's get that ball started. And I think that's where people are lacking a lot.
And I think a lot of people just focus on tax preparation, not tax planning, right? So they're just dealing with what I owe now and right now, but they're not planning for the future.
That's it. You nailed it. And that's one of the things that's really lacking in the financial world today is, don't get me wrong, CPAs are great. I've got fantastic friends who are CPAs. My father was a CPA for 25 years. I love my accountant. He's great. But the problem is your accountant is doing tax preparation or they're doing tax accounting. And they're doing it in April of the next year.
Yeah.
It's a little too late to do anything about last year, right?
Yeah.
So we're not trying to do our clients' tax returns for them and their accounting. We're trying to do tax forward planning for them. Let's know what you're doing and let's get you as efficient as possible and create all the savings we can before you ever get to your CPA. Let's make your accountant's job easy for him, right?
What are some things you could recommend that would help with tax efficiencies? If people are out there watching and going, I don't even know what I could do to possibly, because we know we have to pay taxes, but we just want to pay the minimum.
Yeah, I think there's one large looming threat out there that not enough people are talking about. It's not being spoke about in public enough, and that is something that we call the tax bomb. We had the baby boomer generation. It's over 100 million of 300 million Americans, so 1/3 of our population. The baby boomer generation were all told to save money in a pre-tax account, right? Well, why do I want to do that? Put your money in an IRA or the 401k. Well, why do I want to do that? You get a tax deduction on your income. Tax deduction is like music to our ears, right? Tax deduction, great, I'm going to do that. So majority of our population has put all of their money in these pre-tax accounts to get the deduction up front. And I think that's a little bit backwards today thinking because I don't need a tax deduction when we're at all-time low tax rates. I need to worry about what are my taxes going to look like in the future. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I think is a big problem is all this money in America that is saved in IRAs that is all pre-tax. Now 100 million baby boomers are retired, all pulling taxable income money out of their IRA. Taxes are going to go through the roof over the next decade. And I think that's just really where people are lacking the preparation and the planning is. You got to start looking forward when you're building your taxes. So we need to build tax-free income. We need to utilize Roth IRAs. Tax code 7702 we utilize a lot. There's a lot of different ways to set yourself up and save for a nice tax-free income in retirement. And another thing there is the what we call the domino effect, right? Not only are you taxed on that IRA income as you pull it out in retirement, but then you pull too much and you have too much taxable income, now your Social Security becomes taxed, right? Well, if we don't have taxable income, then our Social Security isn't taxed. My average client is paying somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 a year in Social Security taxation. Well, if we plan ahead and we have tax-free money in retirement, you can save that $5,000 to $8,000 a year for the next 20 years. That's quite a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what we try to focus on and what we're trying to get the word out about. And we're constantly sending that message out is, guys, stop putting money in a pre-tax account. Or if you're going to put some in there, put some after-tax money in a Roth IRA or something of that sort because you can't have it all taxable as income when you get to retirement.
So for those that are out there listening thinking, oh my gosh, nobody has ever talked to me about this. I'm ready to come in and talk to you. What's the next step? What are you offering today?
Well, look, we talk about a lot of things on the show that bring up, resonate with the listeners and the viewers and things that they have never mentioned or people have not brought up to them. If you have not sat down with your advisor, broker, whoever's talking to you and started looking at some tax forward planning for the future, that is unacceptable that you haven't had that conversation would be my approach. But if you haven't had that conversation, when do you think is a good time to have that conversation? Should we wait until tax rates rise or should we start preparing now? If you're not having that conversation, here's your opportunity. You come in, sit down with one of our all-star advisors in our office, and here's what to expect. It's a warm conversation, warm cup of coffee. The first meeting is just to get to know you, learn more about you, your family, your dynamics, and what's trying to go on. But in the end of that meeting, we'll decide if we're a good fit to work together. If we are, we'll move forward, and you will get full-blown comprehensive review, full-blown retirement planning, including Social Security planning, income planning, tax forward planning, inheritance planning. we bring all of the pieces of the retirement puzzle together for our clients. So if you're sitting at home and you're having any thoughts or any of this is resonating with you, pretty good time to pick up the phone, give us a call, take this opportunity, come sit down with one of our all-star advisors, no cost, no obligation, and have a warm conversation. Let's talk about your future.
I like the idea of the warm cup of coffee, but we'll get we'll get right back. The number is 228-388-2031. Give Paul and his all-star team a call. He's going to review your retirement plan and create something unique and individualized. And when we come back from commercial break, I want to talk more about our retirement planning process.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Hello and welcome back to Retire Right. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Paul Roberts, CEO and investment advisor of Roberts Wealth Management. We are just having a great chat about all things retirement, and I feel like it would be remiss to not bring up all the uncertainty in the world, right? I mean, this has been a crazy year, to say the least, and obviously there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets as well. And how do you manage that? I'm sure your clients are all kind of a little scared, right?
They are, and I think it's pretty well justified right now. You know, it falls back to the old Warren Buffett rule. You know, Warren says, when everyone's confident, fear, and when everyone's fearful, be confident, right? You know, and that's when it's time to buy. When everyone's confident, it's time to sell, right? I think we're really at a way too high of a complacency and a confidence level as far as markets and everything. We know how hyperinflated the markets are right now. I mean, we've got the most insane PE ratios that we have ever imagined. I think Tesla reached like 1,100 to 1 or something. That is, I can't even comprehend or fathom that. That's insane, right? So there's so much hyperinflation in the market, and it's mostly because all these companies have been doing all these stock buybacks. They're all buying their own stock back. They're raising the price, you know. All good things have to come to an end. So everything comes full circle. And I think a lot of people right now are feeling in their gut that, you know, we're coming full circle. And I think that's a very justified thought. We feel like markets are very overdue a pretty good correction, and we'll see one this year. But we have bigger concerns than that, not just a small correction right now. You know, these markets are going to have to severely correct themselves pretty soon. Within the next few years, we're going to see a day sooner or later that it's going to make 2008 look like child's play. It's going to be kindergarten compared to the crash we have coming eventually. And this crash won't just be the stock market. You know, it's going to be the bond bubble. It's going to be the debt market. It's going to be real estate. It's all going to happen at the same time. And yet people have a justified right to be concerned and to feel like everything's uncertain right now. That's why it's more important than ever, we say, that you don't just simply, you know, put your money in investments and diversify it in a portfolio, say, well, I've got investments, I'm good to go. Right now is time, a more important time than we have ever seen for prudent financial planning. Detailed understanding of where you are, where you're going, how you're going to handle markets, how you're going to handle the drawdown or the downside of the markets. When are you going to buy real estate? When are you going to sell? I mean, there are a lot of major financial decisions that need to be made right now, and a lot of conversations need to be had. And I feel like there's so much exuberance that I feel that a lot of financial advisors and brokers and people out there are not talking to their clients. They're, hey, because most financial advisors, they love it when the market's rocketing up, right? Hey, look, guys, we're knocking it down for you, right? To the moon, here we go. But sometimes it's time to slow the roll and maybe look at the big picture. And I'm afraid that too many people are too gun-ho right now going after all this money. Yeah, the markets are going great. We're making good money in them. But when is too much, right?
Well, and I'm sure that working with people sort of who are really focused on retirement and saving for retirement, they're probably more risk averse, right?
Yes.
So maybe the market's not always the best place to focus.
Right, and we're very risk adverse, once someone gets to retirement. And we have a lot of quirky sayings in our office, and one of them is, once you hit retirement, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep that matters the most. How do we save you $1? Because just like Grandma said, right, a penny saved is a penny earned. That is our premise to retirement planning, okay? Well, if you want me to make you $1, the best approach to that is to save you $1 first, right? How do we save dollars? What means, how do we reduce commissions, fees, cost of your portfolio? How do we reduce taxation? How do we minimize downside to markets, right? Every one of those dollars we save, we're earning you $1. And that's our premise to retirement planning. So we believe in taking a lot of risk off the table once you get there. Too many people learned their lesson in 2001 and in 2008. It devastated so many retirements. I think a lot of people sitting at home right now watching us today are feeling like that could happen to me, and it's right around the corner. We don't get into predictions.
Well,
As a money
really
manager,
need a crystal ball
you
to
never
tell
get
you.
into predictions. Yeah.
There's a lot of money flying around, and someone's going to have to pay for it at some point.
That's right.
So.
And there's a lot of money that's repositioning itself right now, and it's going to have to reposition itself over the next few years. And yeah, it's a real good time for people to take a real good look at where they're at and make sure they have the right strategies in place, first of all, to manage the drawdown. When the markets go awry, how is that going to affect you? What is it going to look like? Are you going to see a 20, 30, 40, 50% downside in your portfolio? Can you handle that? Are you okay with that? Or do you need to take some of that risk off the table?
It's a tough question to ask, too, because everybody's willing to make money, but
Everybody,
nobody really wants to lose it. So.
That's right. They all want to make as much as possible, right? That's always the tough part of our
job. Make the most
job.
with the least risk. Can you do that?
Right.
Come on.
Well, why can't you just make me that great return with no risk? Well, because that's not the way it works, right? There's trade-offs here.
I think that that's really the importance of a retirement plan. And as we talked about before, it's not that you just do this plan once and it's done. I mean, it has to be revisited because, as we saw from 2020, if you haven't revisited your plan since 2019, I'm sure something in your life has changed since then, right?
I think the whole world has changed.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, and also, things change, I mean, people have grandkids, there's divorce, there's marriage, there's adoption, there's chimes are changing, markets are changing, economies are changing, your needs are changing. So yes, when we sit down to build a retirement plan, we want it to basically be as secure and as full bulletproof as possible. But it's a balancing act, because we want it to be secure and bulletproof, but also we want it to be flexible, and we want to be able to shift gears or change and adjust it as we go. And yes, anyone, once you retire, you should be meeting with your advisor at least once a year, constantly doing updates and progress reports, and where are we, and are we on track, or do we need to make adjustments or changes here, which we meet all of our clients at least once, twice a year, some more, depending on the client. And we're constantly updating that plan and adjusting and changing things. And I've had a lot of clients this year, and really about mid last year it started on election year. A lot of clients started coming in and telling us, look, I want to take a little more risk off the table. I just really feel it's time to take. So we've been moving a lot of clients, our client base's money, a lot of it out of the market and into more secure investments over the last year.
Well, and you've seen, obviously, you were talking about before, but the real estate bubble that's happening, I think it's because a lot of people are focused on their homes, and their domestic life has become so much a bigger part of their life. So why not invest in that and at least enjoy it in the now, because we really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So,
and I get that, and I understand that. And I feel the same way. We've invested more in our homes. Well, all have. I mean, Home Depot sales were through the roof through the COVID crisis,
that was
right?
a good investment.
Yes, Home Depot was banging. I mean, they were busting out of the seams of that place every day. You couldn't find a spot in the parking lot. But a lot of people are investing in it. But I do have something for our viewers right now is if you're looking to purchase real estate or you're looking to sell real estate, it's a good time to sit down with a good advisor, with a fiduciary advisor, and have a conversation with them, not just with a real estate agent, but with an investment advisor, one of our all-star advisors, because you need to know what you're up against. Is it a good time to sell? Oh, yeah. It's a seller's market.
Absolutely.
Right? But is it a buyer's market? No. Is there going to be a buyer's market coming pretty soon? There's going to be great opportunity before we know it. So if you're looking to purchase, I'd just tell you, right now's not about the best time to be purchasing.
I'm going to leave it on that note. We have to get to a short break, and when we come back, we're going to go over some viewer questions.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Hello and welcome back to Retire Smart. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Paul Roberts, and we're talking about retirement. The interesting thing is we are all living so much longer than our parents and grandparents did.
Yes.
So when you say I'm planning for my retirement, well, I'm not used to be you live till 72, and then it was you live till 80. And now, they're saying people live until well into their 90s, mostly women. I'm just going to throw that out there. And planning for that can be sometimes daunting because your distribution phase, you've got to plan to not have the income coming in from your job. It has to come in elsewhere.
Right. And because advances in medicine, healthier living, longer life, longevity is a serious issue for most people planning. I don't think enough people pay enough, put enough towards that. Basically, today, if someone retires at 60 and they live to 90, they could be in retirement for 30 years. Okay?
Almost as long as they worked for.
That's my point. Yeah, your retirement life could be as long as your career life was.
100%.
So did you save enough in your career? And then what's so vital today, and that's why, everything in our office always begins with every new client with income planning. What are your sources of income? How much income do you need in your household to live the rest of your life? We've got to reverse engineer into what you've saved and figure out how do we first secure and make it sustainable to provide that amount of income. Make sure you never run out of your money, because one of the big threats to people going forward is going to be running out of money. Not only do you have to have the income for that long to last, but as we spoke earlier, higher taxes and inflation are coming, okay? So if $2,000 a month is adequate income for your household, in the next 5 years, that $2,000 a month is going to be shrunk to $1,500 a month. Where are you going to make up that $500 difference to keep your same standard of living, right? And so it's very, very important to start with income planning. Where are these sources of income coming the rest of my life? How do I protect myself from inflation with my income, make sure my income keeps increasing to stay ahead of inflation, and how am I going to offset these taxes? Because we know the taxes are coming. I can't mention that enough to people right now. I think a lot of people are concerned, like we were talking last time in the last segment, about uncertainty of economies and markets today. And I hear people telling me all the time, well, I'm afraid that the market could crash and just ruin my retirement. Yeah, it's true. Of course, the market could crash. But I think the market crashes are not the biggest risk to retirees right now. I think the biggest risk is the one that people aren't paying attention to is taxes and inflation. If taxes and inflation destroy your income, market downturns, we can avoid that. We can minimize the damage in a market downtime. But if you don't plan for taxes and inflation, they're just going to creep up and they're going to catch you.
Well, I think that's why it's so important to work with a professional like yourself. Other people out there who may have advisors and they've invested with someone don't really realize that what they have is more just a pile of statements, and they probably don't even know what's in there. Yeah. Some people don't know who their beneficiaries are, which just floors me. And so what you do is completely different. This is like a holistic approach, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
it's planning, right? I think that a lot of people think they save money, they build it, they hand it over to an investment broker, investment advisor, somebody like that, and they get a portfolio. Well, they've done all the job. No, that's great. You took the first steps. The first steps was saving. First steps were getting an adequate investment portfolio, okay? But all of these other variables that we're talking about, if you have not considered them, if you have not had these conversations with your advisor, why not? And when are you going to? Are you going to wait for taxes and inflation to catch up to you? Or do you know what your downturn looks like in the next market, right? And the next upcoming market crash? Why are people not having these conversations? If you're not having these conversations, is that acceptable? And are you just going to hope and pray that it works going through the future? Or do you want to sit down and build a real holistic financial plan? Anybody out there who's listening right now, if this is resonating with you, if you are not having these conversations with your advisor, now I would say it's a really good time. So here's your opportunity. You can come sit down in our office with one of our all-star advisors. We're going to give you a full, comprehensive review of your current situation. Now, what that includes is a portfolio analysis where we'll analyze your fees, commissions, and risk and performance of your portfolio. Most eye-opening thing we do for people, Sarah, most people have no idea what they're paying for their investments. Then we'll analyze your taxation, your income, your inheritance, and all the other pieces of the puzzle that need to come together to have that retirement that you deserve. You deserve to retire with confidence and enjoy out your golden years, and we can help you do that. You come in, sit down with one of our all-star advisors, and let's get the process started today.
I love that you just said we earned it and we deserve it because, we work so hard for just so that we can enjoy our life and also to leave a legacy for possibly our children and grandchildren. And to be able to know that we can do that and do it like amongst all the uncertainty is, I think, is peace of mind, right? And that's kind of priceless. I know some advisors charge thousands of dollars for this same process. So I think it's really wonderful.
No cost, no obligation to any of our viewers. We love what we do. We're passionate about what we do. We want to see everyone out there succeed, and it all starts with having a conversation and building a plan. If you haven't built a plan, this is your opportunity. You need to come sit down with one of our all-star advisors, and let's get you started today.
Paul, it's been wonderful talking to you. Next time we're going to get to all the viewer questions. We didn't have enough time today. We always run out of time.
We're getting backlogged on our viewer questions. We're going to have to devote a whole show to viewer questions.
Okay, that's what we'll do. But until then, I've loved being with you, and give us a call, and he'll make his magic work.